IoT specifically. Now, you might wonder what is IoT? If you don't know yet, you probably do what IoT is. IoT stands for Internet of Things. Think about connected appliances, for instance, smart fridges, smart home security systems. Even a thing that's being rolled out now really swiftly is smart home, is autonomous farming equipment. Let me put it on flight mode in the meantime. There we go. Autonomous farming equipment. John Deere's big in that. Wearable health monitors. We all have our Fitbit and our Apple Watch. Smart factory equipment and wireless inventory trackers in that. And those are all things that run on software. And those things have software that needs to be updated. So the Internet of Things are machines, apparatus that run on software that's connected to the Internet and are updated via the Internet. And that's where DevOps comes into play, to update the software on your smart mobile, smart refrigerators, smart watches, smart fire alarms, smart door locks, smart bicycles, medical sensors, fitness trackers, on and on and on. Anything that you can put smart in front of it and it's a machine, it's probably connected IoT device. Now, to have that software on there updated, IoT DevOps is of increasing importance. DevOps is a combination between development and operations, so the management of the software and the development of the software and of the rolling out of the software. So it's complete automation of the software rolling out through processes and tools to ensure that the updated software is secure and comes out at the other end on the device without any issues, the deployment of it. Continuous integration is a big thing there. So you understand that now with the proliferation of smart devices out there, which is growing and growing and growing, and they're all connected to the internet, updates to software on those devices is done by DevOps, and DevOps by itself needs to run more autonomous as well. The combination of these two requires a lot of underpinning processes and activities that need to be in place in an organization that manages IoT devices. And that's where what we're doing here today comes into play. DevOps IoT. And I wanted to highlight that and have a look at that simply because it's of more and more importance to organizations these days that are managing IoT devices and are struggling or figuring out how to roll out software as a continuous loop to that organization, to that IoT device in a structured way. So what we see here is the first and whole overview of all the critical capabilities that are in the DevOps IoT critical capability area. If I zoom in a bit, I'm being laughed at here for my mumbling. That's the beauty of life. We can't do it again. If I zoom in here a bit, you see all the big blue balls. The big blue balls, those are the critical capabilities that you need to have in place for DevOps IoT. Those capabilities, there are about 1,600 of them, and every critical capability has a question attached to them that you can ask your personnel, your staff, your manager, your team, your client, and to make sure that there's a real understanding of the topic at hand. Now, let me go back to this one so you can see the whole hairball of what's involved. It's a lot, so let's break it down to something that's more manageable. For instance, the 5 most important, highest urgent and prioritized criteria that you need to have in place. Let's enter that here. We only want to see the 5 that are of highest importance. And there we go. These are the 5 ones, and I can do that to 50. I can do that. They just go wild here a bit. Let's go 50. So you see there's more. These are the 50 that are of highest importance. I can go like this. I can zoom in a bit and zoom out. But let's just go with the 5 because I wanted to show you what's connected to each and every one of the critical capabilities. If I zoom in here, and encourage collaboration between teams and system and solution architects, working with product and solution management, product owners, and other stakeholders to help ensure strategy and execution alignment, improve the flow of value through value streams. Makes good sense. Managing risks and dependencies and addressing critical bottlenecks. Double click this one. See what opens up. Yep. And there we are. The question to ask here would be, are supported versions of configuration items and dependencies managed manually? Interesting question, because if you don't have a CMDB and if you don't have an organized way of connecting all your configuration items and managing those according to a service level agreement, you're in big trouble. So that's why you want to have automation here in place, and DevOps helps definitely with managing the configuration items as well as software configuration items. All right, let's click on another one. Let's click on all 5 of them. Let's go wild. What am I talking about here? Let's go. That one, that one, that one, that one. Here we go. As you can see, they're all must-haves. These are the 5 with the highest priority of activities that you need to have in place to manage IoT through a DevOps solution. Be close to each team architecture and code to provide adequate cross-system solutions to drive your business goals. Is the team working from a prioritized backlog to provide frequent software deliveries? See, it's all very structured and organized. It has to be. That's what DevOps is for IoT, in an agile way, delivering software in a continuous improvement kind of way. Make sure your workforce performs business process reengineering, including assessment of existing business processes, so the as-is assessment, determination of future state, BPR gap analysis and assessment, and the general and detailed system design activities needed to support the business process. And here we go. How do you capture non-functional requirements? For example, response time, throughput, utilization, scalability. Let's zoom it out here a bit. Availability and reliability. So not just the functional ones. What does the machine, the IoT needs to do? What does the software need to do? But how is the response time, throughput, utilization measured and managed of the IoT solution and its connection to the backend through the internet? Another one here, drive your engineering team to utilize teamwork and collaboration skills with product managers, key stakeholders, product managers, architects, and UX designers to define requirements, solutions, and risk mitigation plans for project delivery. So it's more than just obviously only software development. UX designers, product managers, key stakeholders. As we all know, everybody needs to be involved because it's about a whole solution, an IoT solution, and DevOps is just the way to deliver and manage software to get to that device. What percentage of projects in your organization have adopted DevOps? Interesting question, because not every part of your organization might have done that yet. Interface with, pull this in the middle, interface with business-oriented leaders from enterprise internal customers to communicate product and solution value, understand business pain, and ensure that technical solutions address the internal customer business problem. Do you know who your best internal customers are? So as you can see, this is all about processes that need to be in place to make sure that DevOps delivers the right solutions to IoT at the right time. So if I then go wild and I click on DevOps IoT, you get to see all the critical capabilities that are aligned to DevOps IoT. And as we know, there are over 1,500 of them. And I can pan over them so you can have a quick peek and have a quick look what's going on here. Here you go. See, there's a lot. So that's why I'm guiding you through what's in there and the easiest way to have a look at what you can do with it. Now, let's have a look at this one. There's another way of looking at the critical capabilities, and that is the critical capabilities and the questions that are attached to them. I find this always interesting because if I don't know, besides the highest prioritized critical capabilities, but if I don't know where to start with a new initiative, this, for instance, DevOps IoT in this regard, I just start with this one because it gives me great insight into the questions that I need to be asking. What are the inputs and outputs from business processes? I just pick a random one. And that can get a conversation going right away. Guarantee your process is supporting and improving your quality processes, including developing and executing automated unit tests and participating in design sessions and code reviews. It sounds a lot like DevOps to me already, people. How many testers do you have in the team? What is the monitoring tools? What are probably are the monitoring tools and types of services you're monitoring? Does your organization's leadership for IT security approve of and participates in creating the cloud adoption strategy? What percentage of your DevOps workflow implementations include security elements for those of you who don't have DevSecOps in place and think about shift left? So you can see all the questions that you need to have in place, that you need to answer basically and be able to think about in your organization and the critical capabilities that are aligned to them. Now, let's have a look at another way of looking at them. So there's a couple of topics that DevOps IoT are related to, and I'm just pulling up a few here to give you an idea of what you need to cover. Audit privacy. Privacy is obviously very important in each and every one, whatever you're doing with software and data from clients, from users. Privacy, audit privacy, ISO 38500. That's information security governance. So governance of information security. Have a look at that one as well. And I'll just open those up so you can have a quick peek as well. Audit privacy, links to practice capabilities and implementation, development, and deployment of technologies, big data, analytics, cybersecurity, blockchain, agile, and DevOps. There's a lot you need to look at here when you audit privacy, all these areas here. Because don't forget, if you do DevOps IoT, you're probably highly invested already into cloud, obviously, big data, AI, ML, robotics, all the topics that are in here, cybersecurity, blockchain. Another one, third-party risk management program. Own and establish best practices in architecture, design and development, command over DevOps processes and tools. Third-party risk management program. Most likely are the IoT devices managed by a third party because it's hardware related and your skills might not be in hardware, your skills might be in software. Third-party risk management. ISO 38500 is linked to those two. Check that your personnel automates the handoff of code releases from development to operations. DevOps, pretty much the definition of DevOps. Ensure your ideas of expertise include cloud enablement, data and AI, DevOps, digital strategy, intelligent applications, IoT and smart edge, and transformation services. Edge computing, that's a term that we come across a lot. Edge data centers, which is basically moving the processing part of the software to the outer rim of it, so to the device itself, as far as you can get. So it's faster and it alleviates the pressure on the main systems. These are the topics that are related. Some of the topics that are related to DevOps IoT. Another one here: zero trust. Built-in security and strong background and ensure strong background in apps, cloud, cybersecurity, DevOps, IoT, APIs, and networking for your team. Related to security again here. What are the limitations of software-defined networking? Question to ask if we're interested in doing that. Now, let's organize them by priority so I can show you the highest prioritized ones. We've already looked at the 5 highest prioritized critical capabilities. They're all the 5 must-haves. So what we've done here is we're organizing the whole critical capabilities in 5 areas: must-have, should-have, let me click on that, must-have, should-have, ought-to-have, might-have, and could-have. So that's a way for us to prioritize which one you really need to have in place. So if I click on must-have, probably get a lot opening up, but it gives you an idea of what's in there. Poof. These are the must-haves that you need to have in place to ensure that DevOps for IoT is a success and is in place. Pan over it a bit. Here, this one: interface with DevOps and support teams to hand over deployed projects to maintenance and support phase, creating the necessary internal customer project documentation, and conducting handover sessions. Now, all the details are in here, and there's so much more good stuff. What I also can use this knowledge. What I can also use this knowledge graph for is figuring out what do I need to cover if I have a question that needs answering. Now, a question that needs answering, here's something I prepared earlier, is how much security and data privacy does your system require? Okay, interesting question. Let's look for the ones that have security in them. Quote, security. And I'm only going to show 10, and I want them by the highest priority. So I only want the 10 with the highest priority. Here they are. How much security and data privacy does your system require? Okay, let's figure that out by answering by making sure we have these critical capabilities in place. Understand how pieces of the security architecture fit together, and be motivated in realizing a simple, pragmatic, and elegant IAM program, Identity and Access Management program, design that meets the need of business partners. Collaborate with business leaders, engineering teams, security teams to gather requirements and translate them into standards with timelines to implement. Security group applies knowledge and involvement of security issues and systems to develop process improvements, and I can go on and on. I won't read them all. I'll just zoom in a bit so you can pause on the replay and have a look what's in each and every one of them. Now, for the interesting part, it's not just the critical capabilities, but you know where I'm going with this. The details, the questions, how they're connected, what their relationships are, what their priorities are. Well, we know what their priorities are because we told the system we only want to see the ones with the highest priority. And let's see if I clicked each and every one of them. Not yet. There. Here. There they are. I haven't clicked each and every one of them yet, but you can see the majority of them. Where do you see the future of the IoT industry going? Certify and design test security solutions using industry standard analysis criteria. Zooming in a bit. This one. How can the DevOps teams reach corresponding short release cycles without compromising on the quality assurance? So you do that by collaborating with business leaders, engineering teams, security teams to gather requirements and translate them into standards with timelines to implement. This gives me the blueprint right away, right here. I only need this chart. How much security and data privacy does your system require? To figure it out as a management team, as a DevOps leader, as an IoT leader, this is my blueprint. This is what I start out with to make sure that all of this is in place in my organization. And I can verify that by answering the related questions. Let's do one more before we farewell you for today. Another question I'd like to ask is, this one, let's highlight it. Have you developed a strategy for helping your business unit leaders use cloud services without creating security or compliance risk? Let's focus on compliance. See what comes up. Compliance. There we go. Order by 10. I only want to see 10. Let's see what it comes up with. Well, this is an obvious DA. Check that your staff is responsible for project compliance with standards and procedures. How do I do that? Proof. Do you implement external standards in your organization? Good question. Another one here. Oversee that your staff is responsible for understanding and maintaining compliance with organization standard policies and required guidelines. How was the reorganization or staff reduction communicated? Well, that's automation might put that into play as well. Safeguard that your strategy facilitates compliance with organization security policies, practices, and legal requirements by ensuring, putting it here, enhancing requirements align with legal and CSO policy guidelines. Do you need a specific policy for DevOps alone? Good question. Probably not for DevOps alone, because you want an overarching security policy in your organization, but it's good to at least think about that. And we can go on and on with all the balls here and expand them and see what comes up. Answer the questions, see how they're related, what they're related to, and we have our blueprint to ensure that we think about all the angles that we need to cover compliance risks in our organization. So with that, I will leave you for today. I hope you had a good time. I did. I enjoyed myself. If you want to have a look at the details of the DevOps IoT critical capabilities, you can see the link down there, http store, theartofservice.com, DevOps IoT critical capabilities. They're also in the show notes, in the notes. You can instantly click on that. You can go through the whole Kanban. The whole Kanban is in the store site. You can play around with them, scroll up, down, search, whatever. And if you want to use it for commercial purposes, you can, or reuse the data that's in there. Instant purchase link is there as well. Thanks for being here. I enjoyed it. Have a good day, and talk to you tomorrow.